Give us just a second to get. All right, once again, I forgot to bring my gavel in here, so I'll have to give us a knock. I apologize. I call to order the Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call to establish a quorum, please.
Mayor Ricky Williams.
Present.
Alderman Robert Williams.
Present.
Aaron Troya.
Present.
Jerry Pickering.
Here.
Michael King.
Here.
Bob Iverson.
Here.
Rick Streeting.
Here.
Mike Ford.
Here.
Darren York.
Here.
Sharon McMahon.
Here.
Brenda Brown.
Present.
RJ Davis. Dan Duncan. Bouchard.
Present.
11 present.
11 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Alderman Brenda Brown, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by myself.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this wonderful day you have provided for us. We thank you for blessing each one of our aldermen to be able to good health and strength. And from the previous conversation, most of us are getting our vaccine. So we thank you for this privilege. We ask that you bless those that are not in attendance with us this evening. And there are a couple that are due to the COVID virus that has ran so rampant through this country and others. We ask that you bless this great city of Danville. Keep us, oh God, and give us wisdom and discernment and fill us with your love that we will become great leaders or continue to be great leaders in this city of Danville. These and all of the blessings we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, as a reminder, the flag is here. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, guys.
That's the best we've done that, Mayor.
I was going to say, that was very well done.
That was really good.
Hey, it only took us a year, right? After a year, I think we learned something, and it's how to say the pledge. We went all the way back to kindergarten. So.
Well, practice makes perfect, so we're improving. That's the good thing. We're getting
there. All right.
All the way from the first grade.
Yes, that's true. At this time, we have the minutes from the March 2nd meeting. Is there a motion to approve those?
Second.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Iverson, seconded by Alderman York. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. We do have the approved minutes. We also have the agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Been moved by Alderman Pickering, seconded by Vice Chairman Streeting. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. We do not have any proclamations this evening. However, I have several appointments this evening. So at this time, I will invite Mrs. Ludwig down. As many of you have had an opportunity to speak to her beforehand, Eve Ludwig is a very intelligent and ambitious young woman. She's also very caring and does a lot to serve this community. I know her to be a person of great character. I did also speak to Mary Lou Stone. Unfortunately, Mrs. Stone really loves the city and she's happy to serve in the future possibly. And she said she'll even likely be back to council meetings with us once we start meeting in person. But she's just not ready yet after losing time to serve. So I'm very glad to say that I have spoken to her, and she actually is really proud to have Eve join us well and has given her blessing. I did speak to one other individual about possibly joining the council too. However, I felt like Mrs. Ludwig was the best person who was most like Tom. I believe that when I'm making appointments or replace people, that we should try to find folks that are similar in some way. So With that, I would entertain a motion to concur with the appointment of Eve Ludwig to City Council as Alderman Ward 5, with a term to expire in May of 2023.
Move to
I
concur.
would love to make that appointment.
Okay, it's been
Move to
moved by-
concur.
It's been moved by Chairman Poor and seconded by Alderman Pickering, I believe.
It was me, McMahon.
I'm sorry, our front TV is going out on us. We're having some issues, so if you see me looking to the side, that's why. I promise I'm not talking to ghosts or anything like that, so. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You opposed, same sign. Okay, Mrs. Ludwig, come on in. You will please just raise your right hand, repeat after me. I just want to be sure that way your family can see. You can step down just a bit. I, Eve Ludwig, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Illinois, and that I will, according to the best of my skill, ability, and judgment, faithfully and impartially, perform all the duties enjoined upon me as Alderman, Ward 5, the city of Danville, county of Vermilion, state of Illinois. So help me God. Congratulations. I will need you to do a sign one of these.
Mayor, will we be, once we get back in session personally, will we kind of go through this again with Mr. York and with Ms. Ludwig?
We could as well, yes. Also, just so you'll know, the clerk is taking pictures as well, so that they'll have those and we can share them also. So, but absolutely, yes, sir. We can certainly do that. So. Eve, would you like to say a few words to the?
I just appreciate that I get the opportunity to serve Danville this way. I've spent time on several boards, but I've never had the chance to serve the community this way. So I really appreciate being here, and being a Danville native, it means a lot to me. So thank you. I hope I can live up to everybody's expectations.
I'm sure that you'll do a phenomenal job. So thanks. All right, no problem. I'll give Eve a moment to get back to. She's meeting with us here in the office. So I would like everyone to know that Eve will not be voting this evening. It was my fault. We did not get the packet out to her ahead of time. However, we've taken care of that. She'll have her city email up and running. I believe it already is actually, and we will be sure that she's ready for next time. So I just wanted to explain why she might not be voting. I'm also very excited that we have other appointments this evening as well. At this time, I would entertain a motion to appoint Carly Frederick to David S. Palmer Arena Board with a term to expire in November of 2022. Is there a motion to concur with the appointment?
So moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor Iverson. I'm sorry, who was the second? Alderman Trollian. Very good. All right. Any discussion or debate? Carly, just so you'll know, she's a young, bright woman. She actually, when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, her friend taught tumbling, who was also a high school student, came and taught tumbling to the girls at the Boys and Girls Club free of charge. Well, Carly came, when one of the girls graduated, this friend recruited Carly, and Carly came and taught gymnastics with us. Then when her friend who left graduated, Carly recruited another young woman who actually came and helped. So she was a part of a tradition of teaching tumbling in the club for a number of years. She is an agent with what was formerly Old National Bank, an insurance agent, and before that she worked at CCMSI for a number of years. She has a lot of great experience with finances and also with planning, and that's why I believe that she will be an excellent addition to the board. Also, just so you'll know, her maiden name is Schrader. So you might know her by that name or know her family because they've also done a lot of Danville. Yes, Vice Chairman Ford.
I'd like to compliment you on your appointments, on the young people we're getting in to serve in various positions, and I think it's going to be a great benefit for the city of Danville.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, the truth is, unless we step up and start helping lead, you know, we can't rely on our elders forever. Y'all have done an amazing job helping us get where we are. I'm so glad so many of you are still serving with us. I think it takes a combination of perspectives of ages and diversity in terms of race, gender, all of those things in order to get the best idea for how to move our community forward. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for that compliment. Any other comments? All those in favor of Ms. Frederick's appointment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. At this time, also another young fellow, I would like to reappoint him with a term to end in June of 2024. Is there a motion to concur with the appointment?
So moved. Second.
And moved by Alderman Trolia, seconded by Vice Mayor Iverson. Pete has served with us for a good while now. He's a smart guy. He's a hard worker. He's shown leadership on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I think it will be great to have him continue in service. So, any discussion or debate?
I agree.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Thank you for concurring with that appointment. So I've had lots of great news for you this evening, and lots of good things to be exciting about. There are a few more things, but unfortunately I have some bad news for y'all as well. You guys know that I do my best to be open and honest and transparent, and when I know of things that are concerning, I want to make sure I let you know about it too. With that, I will deliver to you the bad news that unfortunately we will be unable to open the municipal pool this year for safety reasons. I hate to tell you, but our guttering, amongst other things, are just really poor condition, and they're at a place where they're creating hazards such that I do not believe it will be safe for us to open the pool. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our plan for moving forward afterwards. However, at this time, I would like to invite Director Carpenter to make a few comments, and then I believe that that Mr. Weaver is going to help share some pictures of this so you can understand why we have to make this decision.
Thank you, Mayor. And Aaron, if you could get the pictures ready, please, I'd appreciate that. What you're going to see in front of you is, I think I took about 15 different pictures. This one particularly shows a gutter. You'll see that the bricks are broken down on it. They are the gray colored bricks. The white that you see on the left side of the picture is actually part of the pool system itself. And right there in the middle of the screen, you see that we have a board placed across the gutter instead of the bricks that are supposed to be there. All around the pool, we have these bricks broken up. You go to the next picture, Aaron, please. Well, while he does that anyway, I walked the entire pool. I just thought the pictures would be better than an actual video. I didn't know how well that'd show up. But what you're seeing in front of you now is what is occurring all the way around the pool in the gutter system. I did also include in the presentation a report from the State of Illinois Department of Public and Health that they come out and inspected it every year. And for the last several years, they have written up that gutter system, stating that it needs repaired or replaced. They did so again last year in the one that I included with this. They also wrote up, and I believe they have in the past as well, that the concrete decking itself needed repaired towards the deep end of the pool, and that'd be the west side of the swimming pool structure itself. In addition, there's a crack that runs at an angle across the deep end of the pool, almost where the 4.5 foot meets the 5 to 6 foot pool and starts getting lower. That crack's been there for years, and over the years, city crews have patched it up. When the engineer Schnell was still here, he actually had for lack of a better term, a sonogram of that area done by an engineering firm. There you can see some of the really bad corners of it right there in front of you. Anyway, this crack, they discovered a void underneath the pool and wanted to do further exploratory drilling at that time. It was determined that we didn't want to allow them to do that because it'd shut the pool down. At that time, the pool was not apparently losing any water. But from further checks, the crack's only gotten worse. The concrete patch across it needs repaired on a yearly basis. And not knowing what the void is at this time, we are going to go ahead and move forward with the exploratory drilling. They are going to take some more sonograms, basically, of the pool floor to see if they can determine what the void is. And then we would move on from there. There's a real good picture of some of the broken bricks that are on top of that actual gutter system itself. And this is where it goes back towards the deep end of the pool. I believe that's a 7.5 foot mark right there. This creates a huge hazard for anybody getting in or out of the pool. And a lot of times when you're there, you'll either sit up there on the edge of that gutter or stand on the gutter and just kind of, I don't want to say dive because we don't allow diving in there, but just kind of jump in the pool. And that's a very unsafe. Over the years, we've replaced it in the past with other bricks that are not as thick as what they should be. There are some very small size stepping stones that have been cut to fit that area, and that's just not acceptable. The return of the whole guttering system isn't what it should be. This picture, you can actually see about where the T is in foot. If you move out to that white part of the pool, you see how that's bowing out now, and the big crack developing in that. That is sort of like a part of the sidewall of the pool itself. So, and I don't know, Mayor, whether you wanted me to go further into the plans that we've actually gotten, or whether you wanted to talk about doing that.
Well, Carl, maybe you can tell them, you or Sam can tell them what we've kind of had commissioned and have done so far, and then maybe from there we can kind of tag team about what our plan or our hope is for moving forward.
Okay, we currently have another engineering firm that, as I spoke earlier, is going to come in and do the exploratory on the pool deck itself. Once we get that report back from them, we'll come back to you, to the council with that report as well. We actually had the Farnsworth Group, who's done a lot of work for the city over the years, do a pool evaluation and engineering evaluation of it late last year in August. They actually came out with a comprehensive plan that would repair the pool with a liner, all new guttering system put in, some more amenities placed. We would try to get a slide or two put in over in the grassy area that would go into the pool. It would also rebuild the pool house itself, renovate it wouldn't be a complete tear down. It'd just be a rebuild of the existing structure that would update the bathrooms, make them ADA appliant, make that whole area much more amicable to those that are visiting. We would also incorporate a new mechanical room for the pool house. That is what actually takes your filter system in and out, cleans the water for you. They gave us a number for that. That's roughly, I believe here, let me look at it. I think it's like $3.5 million to do all that. That pool liner is estimated to last 15 to 20 years. And I don't want to say that we would make it last longer, but as we always do in the city, we get every bit of life out of everything we always can. And the pool in this current condition testifies to that. That pool is over 50 years old now, so it's well due time. And because of the safety issues, and none of us want to see anybody get hurt, it is an enjoyable amenity for us, and it should remain that way in the future. I will add that with the closure of the pool for the season, we will be keeping the spray ground open because that has an entrance and exit of its own that we can utilize. There is a gate that led between the pool and the spray ground area, but that will be locked. And in order for people to have access to a restroom, we will actually be putting porta potties in there, and we can service them ourselves with our Vector truck. And at that time, I'm open for any questions that I might be able to answer at this time.
What I would add is that, I'll be honest, I was in denial. I didn't want to, could you go ahead and go back to that? I was in denial. I didn't want to believe that it was so bad. And then when I went there and Carl showed me, and the truth is, you can't capture some of the things from these pictures because they're going down into the water. You wouldn't be able, the angles are so strong, but we have cracks in the sidewalls. You saw in one part where the white outer part of the guttering was cracked. We have cracks going into the sidewalls. Actually, while we were there, a piece broke off that was really problematic. So I hate to do this, but I just don't think that it's safe. I think that we would be opening ourselves up to major liability because we know there are massive issues. We all saw from those pictures just how many of the tiles are missing. I mean, we've got wood, we've got Carl, composite concrete in there. We've got literally patio pavers covering up some of these places. It's just not safe. You say, well, Mayor, what is your plan for going forward? Well, I would say we've been great stewards for a reason. I had hoped that maybe we would be able to spend some more of our reserve towards more blight elimination and stuff. But I don't think that there's any greater need that, that's something that serves the entire community than our pool. And so I would recommend that we commit a portion of our reserve towards making sure we're able to restore the pool. Just so you'll know, it will likely, even if I'm not asking you for a vote because we don't have a full and final proposal yet, but even if we get started on it within the next 2 months, we will likely have to be closed for 2 seasons. I just want to make sure that we're clear about that up front because it will take a time for final design, then it will take time for rebuilding and actual implementation of the pool. So we're likely going to be without the pool for 2 seasons. Again, I just want to be upfront about that. I think that the pool is important though for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know of many in communities that's either a country club or it's a municipal pool, and occasionally you're lucky and you get both. If we didn't have the municipal pool, there would be so many children and families that would not have access to swimming, and I think that that's something that's important for quality of life. The other big thing that it helps with is it gives children something positive to do during the summer. I can only imagine where and what else that they might be doing that wouldn't be good if they were unable to access the pool for indefinitely, forever. So at this time, I'm happy to answer questions. I see Alderman Trolia, you have your hand up.
Well, yeah, you actually answered a couple of them. I was going to ask how long it was going to take. You said 2 years. And then you said some of it was going to come out of reserve. Where would the rest of the money come out?
There's a possibility that we might be able to use some CDBG funding for the next fiscal year on that, because it serves low to moderate income individuals, but we would have to probably put together a funding package. But a lot of it depends on Brzee too. If Brzee comes in at a lower estimate than what we hope, then we might be able to take it all from our reserve. But we know for sure we have options such as CDBG that we might be able to use as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is anyone having problems hearing me? Someone said.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Yes.
You're too far back.
I apologize. We'll work on that, and I'll also work on speaking louder so that hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. Alderman Trolia, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was just saying I was having trouble hearing you. I wasn't. I'm done. I need to take my hand down.
All right.
I had a question there.
Yes, Alderman Williams.
Is it possible you said it would take 2 years. Is it possible to do that in 2 stages, maybe? The areas that need to be done right away, complete them in 1 year and then pull the others off to the following year or something?
There is a possibility for phases. So for example, Alderman Williams, we could wait on restoring the bathhouse. However, because with the liner, you have to kind of do things simultaneously. As far as the pool itself goes, most of those repairs to the actual pool would have to be all done consecutively at the same time. Alderman Williams, anything further?
No, that answered my question.
Thank you. Chairman Ford.
And Carl had emailed me yesterday, I believe it was. But yeah, it's as long as we have the spray ground operating, I think that will give some relief from the heat, for people that do go to the pool. But it's something that's been put off for years and years and years. We've known about these issues, and I think it's time that if we're going to continue to have a community pool, we need to address and make sure everything's done properly.
Just for perspective, our pool is, I think, 12 years older than me. Is that right, Sam?
Well, yeah, it's 50 years old, man.
Maybe it's 11. It was built in 67?
No,
69.
69, okay. So 9 years older than me. So it's 52 this year.
Yeah.
Alderman O'Kane.
Well, I too think this is a very, very big asset for the city of Danville. I would like you also to punch those numbers if possible. We got 2 years out of the one project. You're looking at 15 years plus the remodel. Punch some numbers to see what happens to get it, to build a new 50-year project or something like that, and see how the numbers compare. It sounds like we got a little bit of time. I think it'd be an asset for the city of Danville for years to come. So don't forget that as an option.
So you know me, I would always prefer bigger and better. Unfortunately, Alderman, looking at a new pool, you're looking at $10 to $12 million.
Well, but divide that by 50 years compared to 15 years. Just look at the numbers.
Sure, and maybe Sam could speak a little bit more to this. We have looked at that too, and really in 15 to 20 years, we're talking probably, if you maintain everything properly. That's part of our problem, is things haven't been maintained properly. If you maintain things properly, then you're looking at primarily only replacing the liner in 15 to 20 years, which is actually only a couple $100,000. Sam, do you want to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think most of the components that would go into this would have the same design life as a new build, with the exception of the liner and some of just the, the stuff that's not designed to last that long. And when it expires, if you look at the annualized cost, it's cheaper to rehab than replace a couple components like that a couple times than it is to start from square one. That is a question that we did ask ourselves, and I don't have a detailed analysis on it, but we did. We can put that together and provide that too if that's something you'd like to see.
And
so
I've repaired many pools over my career, replacing those tiles, working on the concrete and stuff like that. I know it can be done. I just know that there's new things out there that may be cost savings on the other end as far as your engineering and your maintenance and stuff like that.
Yep.
And keeping the ADA compliance going.
Thank you, Alderman O'Kane. Did you have any further questions on that?
No, that's it.
Alderman Brown.
My same concern. the cost to repair versus the cost to put in a new pool because of the age of it. And from what the video just showed us, or the pictures that were just shown to us, probably should have been closed a long time ago. Like sex is hazardous, but you just explained about what the cost would probably be for a new pool. But I think it's worth looking into to bring that back to the council to see the new versus just a repair, you know, with new lining. I don't know cost on these type things, so that's what I'd like to see both of them brought back to the council, new versus the repairing. And also one more question. It's may sound kind of stupid, but there isn't any other pool in Danville for swimming and that's open to the public other than this pool. Am I correct?
That's correct, Alderman Brown. It's not a stupid question. Unfortunately, Turtle Run Cove, you know, Field and those years a few years ago. If you can access the live for a membership, you know, if you're a member or for a pretty much daily fee, or there's the pool that's indoors or outdoors. The only other option is the country club, which is a wonderful place, but unfortunately it is
private. Right.
Financially or locationally would not be able to access it.
Right. Okay. I just so then I guess young people, or not just young people, but anyone that wanted to swim for the next 2 summers would have to probably go to the Y because there's no outside public pools. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Pan. And Alderman sorry, I'll call you next.
I was wondering if that crack in the bottom of the pool is going to affect the whether it would be able to be a liner or whether there would have to be some new concrete work done on the bottom.
Yes, they will end up cutting that whole section out in a new, once we find out what the void is, if the void can be filled safely. Because until we know that, all of this may be a moot point. It may have to have a brand new pool. It may have to go somewhere else. So until we find out what the void is, how deep it is, and whether or not it can be properly filled and safely filled. But in order to do that, that whole section would be cut out and new concrete poured in that section. Yes.
Carl, I've never actually been over there and looked right directly into the pool, but during the off season, is there a proper covering that goes over that to help preserve that pool, or would there be if we got a renovation?
That's not in the plans. It doesn't show that. That's something we could ask them about. I don't know whether you've ever had a pool at your house, but you know that even when you put a cover over it, it gets a lot of junk in the pool anyway. Those covers aren't really 100% sealable. And I think that would be an added expense. As long as you keep the pool full of water or up to the level it needs to be, and then you pump out that bad water come springtime. You don't pump it completely dry unless you're going to repaint it and everything. Of course, with a liner, you wouldn't be repainting anything. And we would have to go by what the manufacturer's suggestions are for pool maintenance once the liner was in place.
Yeah, in order to put a liner, you would have to have a proper bottom in order to put that liner on there, even if it required new concrete all the way from one end to the other, proper, right?
Well, you would, but the flooring in that is not that bad. It's just that one spot that's cracked real bad and has a void under it.
Okay, good.
Did you pump flowable fill in there? You don't know that, I guess, right?
What's that?
Chairman Ford?
Did you pump flowable fill into that crack, or is that to be determined?
That would be an option, but we don't know yet because we don't know how big the void is. It could be a false reading for all we know. We don't think it is, but until they do their exploratory, we don't have those answers yet.
So they actually use, I know from my previous life, you could go and they had an x-ray machine that you could actually go and find things underground with a basically a sonogram type thing. That would give you hits and misses and be able to determine what was underneath. Is that what they're going to do?
Yes, and then they're going to actually do bore drilling as well to find out how deep the void may or may not be.
Okay.
Alderman Ludwig.
Wondering if anybody knew the time frame for the completion of a new pool facility?
Well, if we did it the renovation is roughly 2 years.
But a brand new pool facility, what would be the time frame?
We didn't check all of that, no.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you want me to speak to that?
You can.
I mean,
yeah.
I would expect that it would be the same time frame or a little bit longer even, just because of land acquisition process, you know, depending on if it was going to go in another park, then that wouldn't be a problem. But typically when you go to site a new pool, you go to a little more depth of study, you know, things like that slow the process down to make sure you've chosen an optimal location. Construction wise, it would be a similar time frame, design, permitting, construction. It could be a little bit longer because some of the construction is more involved even than what the rehab would be. So, and I did, if I could add another commentary, they're just asking for feedback from council. So I just ran some quick numbers here. You know, if we spend $3.5 million on the pool rehab, and once every 15 years, if we even had to spend another $1 million to do liners and various other upgrades, you know, over a 45-year period, we've invested the equivalent of $5.5 million into the pool, which would be $122,000 per year average annualized cost. If you build a new one, even at the low end of, you know, 10 million, and it lasts about 45 years, which is that's longer than anybody's going to tell you to count on a pool being around. You're looking at an annual cost of $222,000. So almost twice as much. So we didn't go into great detail because of that. If you would like us to get more into detail than that, because you really want it to be a viable option, we can do that, but it'll take, to get a detailed view of that is going to take a little bit more work and time. So.
For the new pool, Sam, you said what was that figure again?
And it was 10 to 12 million. The numbers I just gave you assumed the low end, which was $10 million.
Okay.
And honestly, new pools can cost anywhere from 10 million to 50 million.
Okay.
It just depends on how many amenities and scope creep is a real thing when you get out in these projects too. You go after something new, and you know, you just want a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that, and the next thing you know, you got a $25 million pool when you started out with a $10 million pool. Mm-hmm. So that's a real thing that we've got to be aware of too in that process. So.
And the other thing also is funding a new pool. You know, I mean, you would then possibly have to take out loans or bonds to pay for it, whereas I think that we have the existing resources to possibly help pay for a renovation that will look wonderful and will last us a long time. But we will certainly look at those options as you've requested. So I apologize. Any other questions about the pool before we move on? I'm sad to tell you I have other bad news. I apologize. I meant to share this first. As you may have heard Alderman Pritchard allude to, unfortunately, Ken Cox, who is the neighborhood, the chair of the Meadowlawn Neighborhood Association. Why did I say Meadowlawn? My goodness. It's gracious. Why can I? He said, do you know that it's Ken's Neighborhood Association?
It's Meadowlawn, Mayor.
Meadowlawn. It is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm having a senior moment. I'm sorry. Anyways, who has also been the president of our neighborhood association, our larger neighborhood association board, suffered an aneurysm and a massive stroke, and he is in the hospital. it sounds like Alderman Bouchard has just learned that they are transferring him to a nursing facility. So please keep Mr. Ken Cox in your prayers. He's done an awful lot for the people of Danville and for our neighborhood associations. He's been a mentor to a lot of the new neighborhood associations. So please do just keep Mr. Cox in your prayers. He's a wonderful, and his family. He's a wonderful man. And if there are any further updates, of course, as I learn those, I'll share those with you.
Hey, Mayor, Ken held those meetings in his garage, and I'm just, hopefully the new liaison for the neighborhoods and other things will be able to keep that going, because Ken busted his butt. I mean, literally to, have that neighborhood continue and thrive.
Absolutely. And like I said, he was such a mentor to a lot of the other groups as well. So, so I've told you a lot of bad news. I was going to try to psych you out and pitch this as bad news and then say it was good news until I actually had real bad news for you. So we've discussed a few somber things, and I'm really happy to tell you I do have some very good news for the city of Danville and for the citizens of Danville. The liaison for Congressman Chris Marty, who oversees one of the congressional budget committees, reached out to me to let me know that Danville was included as a direct allocation in the stimulus package that was just passed by the president. And I'm very, very pleased to say that you all are going to have to help me figure out how to spend the $23 million that the city will be receiving as part of this.
Right.
That's awesome news. Awesome.
Yeah.
What can it be used for?
Wish list.
We're just getting ready to get to that. So unfortunately, there are some caveats. You cannot use it directly for pensions. You cannot use it directly to lower taxes. What you can use it for, we're still figuring out, right? We haven't received direct guidance yet, but we know that there are some things that were included directly in the bill, which are to make up revenue losses as a result of the coronavirus. So even though our city is doing well overall, as you guys know, there are certainly things like hotel motel tax and others that our revenues are way down compared to what they normally are. So that we believe that we can also use it for like we did for cures, so that we could use it to reimburse us for public safety salaries. If that's the case, we could use that whole allotment just in that probably. The other thing that it can be used for is for water, high water, broadband, and or sewer work as well. So that those are some things that we know that it can be spent for. Once we have more concrete guidance, my team and I will start working together to put together a solid proposal as to how we think we should use things. But I think that that's just incredible news for our community.
There, the sidewalks come under that agenda there. Our sidewalks in Danville are in pretty bad shape for the most part.
A lot of them are, yes.
That's one of my biggest complaints in my ward is the sidewalks.
Sure. I'm not certain, Jim, outside of the, Alderman Pritchard, I'm sorry, outside of those things that I shared, I don't know, because they haven't given it's very vague. I imagine that within the next, part of it, the bill did also say that half of the money had to be delivered to the municipalities within 60 days of the passage. So that would mean sometime in May, we should be receiving the first half of that, which would be $11.5 million.
Great, great.
So as soon as I know more about what we can spend it on and how we can spend it, I will make sure that I share that information with you all right away. I wish that I could answer more questions. I don't know much more than what I've shared with you, but I'm happy to entertain any discussion or feedback on that as well. Does anyone have anything to say or any questions?
Yeah, Mayor, how did they decide how much each city would get? Is there a certain population percentage or something?
I don't know the exact percentage, Alderman Williams, but yes, and it was based on our CDBG allocation. So I believe it was like a certain amount per your population, right? So that I do know that it was just broadly figured that. I don't know how they did specific percentages or how much was allocated per person, so.
Well, Mayor,
Yes.
I'm glad we didn't get penalized for being good stewards of the money that we have access to, since our city actually is doing well considered to other neighborhood cities. So it sounds like we're not getting penalized by getting that amount. That's good news.
I don't believe so. We will see once we know what the spending stipulations are, right? I mean, because if they're very strict, it could still make it challenging for us, so. Any further discussion or debate? All right, thank you, guys. Madam Clerk, do we have any petitions, communications?
No, we don't.
Okay, all right, very good. We do have before us 2 zoning petitions, and we do have the petitioners on board with us this evening to answer questions. Item 8A is an ordinance amending zoning ordinance map to approve a special use permit number 247 for Greg Excavating and Hauling LLC at 1812 East Main Street. Is there a motion to dispense with the reading and concur with its approval?
Alderman Strebe, concur.
Second.
Been moved by Vice Chairman Streaming and seconded by Alderman Pickering. Any discussion or debate?
Question if I could, Mayor?
Yes, yes, Chairman.
This is the Main Street property, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I live on Main Street and I still can't figure out from that map where that actually is. So
Logan can help us out with that, Chairman.
Yeah. Just, when you're doing those maps, include the cross streets. It would be so much easier for us to figure out where it actually is.
Yeah, and typically I do. I apologize for missing out on the streets there, but the location of it is on the west side of South State Street, just right across the street from Leveren's Memorials.
Okay, the west side. Is that big yellow house?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so what they're going to make improvements to the house to make it 2 units instead of 1? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, they're gonna have to follow building safety code and all the fire protection standards, et cetera, in order to turn this into a dual family residence.
Okay. I know where it is now. I know exactly what house you're talking about then. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Alderman O'Kane and then Alderman Pickering.
Okay, they'll have to comply with codes as far as 2 ways in, 2 ways out, parking, fire codes and everything else before they'll be permitted.
Yeah, and
then what happens? This is a special use permit. So when a family moves out, what happens?
So it will carry that use and just that specific use, even if it changes hands. But if they ever change the use back, what has happened, just a brief history of it, it appears that it was a 2-family residence in the past. Somebody purchased it, turned it into a single family dwelling, and now it's being purchased again and being transformed back into a dual family dwelling. So it appears from the outside that it's pretty close. It just needs a couple of separations and plenty of parking. We went through all the zoning on it. It appears that this can be done with a couple of minor improvements.
Well, it's a marginal structure from my outside inspection, and the site work and stuff like that is marginal. I just don't want to create another hazard.
Yes, Alderman O'Kane, any further questions?
I'm not crazy about the idea, but if to keep people in it, it's probably better.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Pickering.
Yes, I was just wondering how long they have owned this house?
Petitioners, if you would like to go ahead and speak and answer Alderman Pickering's question and then also add anything else that you would like, fellas.
Yes, absolutely. We purchased the house about 2 months ago.
Okay. And your intentions, what do you intend to do with the house?
We've had 3 different inspectors come in and check out the house. We were told that we needed to separate the furnace, so we're having a new furnace installed upstairs. building a separation wall downstairs. And then there was actually a lot of remodeling done before the purchase. All new carpet, painting, flooring entirely through the upstairs and the downstairs. We're installing new water heater to be up to code, and then some minor plumbing and structure to the outside deck leading up to the upstairs.
Do you own any other homes here in Danville?
Not in Danville, but we do own 3 other homes that we rent out, and we've had great. We go in and we remodel them completely and make sure everything's right, because if we do that, then we have less calls on our hands. So we actually, what we do is we actually own an excavation and rock hauling business. Mm-hmm. So this is just something that we've kind of just merged over into, that we do on a little bit of on the side. And we've seen a great opportunity in Danville to redo this house and make it better. So
good. Well, thank you. Let's hope it does.
Thank you.
Is there a full kitchen upstairs in that house?
There was a full kitchen. It's been removed back when they switched it to a single home, and we have to put a new cabinets and everything. The plumbing's still there. We do have to do a few adjustments to the plumbing to meet code. But yeah, just minor stuff. Everything else has been pretty much set up still. The meter bases were still there. We just have to have an electrician come in and do a few upgrades on the wiring to make sure that everything is up to code.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Strebe?
Yes.
Hoare?
Hear me?
Yes. Now,
Okay.
you say yes?
Yes.
Thank you. McMahon?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Davis? Duncan? Bouchard?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Troya?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries. Item 8B is an ordinance amending Chapter 150 of the City Code zoning ordinance, Article 7, to approve rezoning petition number 282 for signs in residential zoning districts confirming non-residential use. I would ask for a motion to dispense with the reading and for its approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Pickering and seconded by Alderman York. Logan, can you give a brief synopsis of what we're doing here?
Yeah, what you have here is proposed 5 words and 1 letter change to the signs in a residential zoning districts. And this is for conforming non-residential uses. Not too long ago, we just had a similar, not issue, but a similar item come to the city council floor. And we've seen this in the past where churches, schools, etc., have actually came to the city council to rezone the entire property just for a sign. This, we believe, will correct that. It's merely a Band-Aid in the overall view of the signage ordinance, but we've seen a surplus of these requests for more identification signage on each frontages. There's a pretty big trend around town that churches and schools take up more than 1 frontage, if not 3 or more. And we believe that this will at least make that part of the signage ordinance easier.
What we're trying to accomplish is to make it, as easy as possible for places of worship of all faiths, of nonprofits, of schools, and such facilities to be able to mark their places, their facilities, so that folks can be able to better and more easily access them.
I wish you'd done this 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We're playing catch up, Chair, Alderman. I'm sorry about that. Was that Alderman Pickering? Yes, ma'am.
Now, this in no way changes the signage for small businesses in residential areas, correct?
No, this is strictly for conforming non-residential. So that's going to be your churches, your schools,
Okay.
and the big ones in most cases that share multiple frontages.
Okay, double checking. Thank you.
Yep.
Chairman Moore.
Again, Logan, just maybe with the highlighting capability of PDFs and things, maybe highlight, you said what, 5 words changed and something else, just to, so we know what's been changed.
Yeah, and it's just written, underlined in the ordinance, following from past, but I can definitely highlight it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Iverson.
Yeah, the situation I know that we had several months ago was a church that had other agencies in the church. So the other agency wanted to promote where they were as people could use it, but the church had a hard time with that because they had too many signs. So would this do that? Say if a church has several social agencies now housed in their church, where would the frontage be? I mean, different sides of the church would count as a frontage, or how would that work?
Yeah, so the frontages are going to be the sides of the building that are facing a roadway.
Okay. So in the situation we had, we would have had a different, since it was on a different street than the main church street, it would have been okay without going through all that it did. So
Yeah, correct. And touching on that petition, it was overall bringing the church up to conformity with signage and uses.
yeah. The dwelling place still hasn't put up its sign, so this might make it a lot easier, Logan.
Vice Mayor, any further questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Poor,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan, Bouchard,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Williams,
Alderman
Thank you.
Williams.
Heard.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
Troya,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Strebe,
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries. And gentlemen, from the folks from Greg Excavating and Hauling, I appreciate you all, your willingness. You're welcome to stay on the line with us, but if you have other things you need to tend to this evening, we thank you for coming to answer questions, but you don't need to stay unless you wish to. Either way, it's up to you. All
Okay,
right?
thanks. Y'all have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Look
Thanks,
forward
you
to
too.
what y'all are gonna do.
Thank you.
All right. Item 9 is the approval of the payrolls. You have before you the payrolls from March 5th and March 12th. Is there a motion to approve those?
Move to approve.
Been moved by Alderman Brown, seconded by Alderman Pashard. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman McMahon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan, Bouchard,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Troya,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we have the approval of vouchers payable for March 9th and 16th, as well as the special run from March 1st. Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion. We go ahead and put it on the floor to approval.
Second, Shard.
Been moved by Vice Chairman Strebe and seconded by Alderman Pashard. Any discussion or debate?
I will abstain since a couple of the checks go to me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Alderman Pickering.
I just have a question. The money that we do give, like for the renters, how do we actually handle those payments? I know we pay like RC management and that. Then do they in turn, how do we know? I mean, do they give like receipts to the people themselves? How do we know it gets there? I guess is what I'm saying.
You want me to take that, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so on the larger management companies. We are cooperating with them. Some of them manage the property, and then we mail the checks directly to the landlords.
Right.
But we are partnering with them through and through to ensure that the actual tenants get the 3 months rent or whatever $1,250 is worth. And they are contractually bound to provide those dollars to them. So from a legal standpoint, we are protected.
So, I mean, does the recipient of the renter, do they know? I mean, they know that it's been paid then?
Yeah, so it's a two-part contract. We bring the management company or the landlord in to sign the grant agreement and also the applicant, so they know the funds are coming.
Okay, thank you.
Logan?
Yes, Chairman McMahon.
Okay. So Logan, what happens is the actual renter has to come in and fill out the application, correct?
Yeah, they come in, fill out the application, then the landlord is then notified of the award, and then they are both brought back in to sign the contract.
Yeah, that's excellent, because I would much rather have the payment going to the landlord themselves than to the tenant, and then maybe the landlord not receiving the money.
That's correct.
You know.
Man, we had a few issues with that, unfortunately, and thanks to some suggestions from Administrator Finch and also a little from our staff, from Logan and Natasha, we made a few changes to make it better, to be sure that folks actually are getting the money's going where it's supposed to be, so that we don't end up with people that we supposedly helped stay in their homes, right? Then out on the street in a couple of months when this ban is over. So, Chairman Cooper.
Yeah, this came up at a public works meeting, and Corporation Counsel Simon did advise Aaron to abstain, since even though it wasn't a direct check to him, but part of the corporation, so that's why Aaron's abstaining.
Thank you, Chairman, for that clarification. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan, Pashard,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Proya,
Abstain.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
10 yes, 1 abstention.
10 yes, the motion carries. At this time, I'm telling you, Chairman, I'm glad to have you all back, because it takes off a lot of my legwork and talking so much. At this time, we will receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Ford.
Thank you, Mayor. 11A is a resolution approving an employment agreement and establishing a vendor for Harrison Park Golf Course. Move to dispense reading and for approval.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Chairman McMahon and seconded by Alderman Pickering. Alderman Trolley.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading through the contract. It looks like it would be pretty complicated to keep track of, honestly, like because he gets a percentage of all the green fees and carts and everything. I mean, I would like to look at moving it more towards like how the stadium's done, where he just rents it. And then I think that would make it a lot easier to keep track of everything. And if he could run it at a profit, then we wouldn't have to use hotel motel tax to subsidize it. The golf course, anyway. And it would make it just a lot easier to keep track of everything. I mean, rather than paying him a percentage of everything that comes in and stuff like that.
Alderman Trolley, I know that that's something that has been, that we attempted in the past, and it's something we're keeping all the options open for moving forward. But we do want to make sure that we have a certainty moving forward for this season.
Yeah, and I realize it. I mean, you had that discussion earlier. It's probably too late for this year already, but in the future. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Mayor, one of the things is he is an employee, and the other part of it is the hotel motel tax. You better inspect that really close, because when they started that years ago, those were the two aspects, that and the Civic Center, where all that money went to. So, and we need to go back and look at it real close, because that's the reason why it was all set up the way it was set up.
Yes, Vice Chairman. So I have done some research on that. It actually was originally established only for the Civic Center. Then the Civic Center asked to add money for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which started. Then later on, Harrison Park was added in there as well. And then eventually we also added the 1% for our actual Parks Department as well. So that's why there's a fourfold split of that money. But originally it was just established for the Civic Center, and then those other things were added in subsequent years. Because Chairman, Vice Chairman, the way it's is you're allowed to do anything that brings visitors to the area, or so you can help fund things that bring visitors through the area with that, and that's why we're able to fund these things and bring visitors here to the community.
And it absolutely does that.
But still, it's going to be considered different from what you got out the ball stadium. Am I not correct?
Yes, I can answer that, Mayor. That it would not be structured anything like what it was at the ball stadium. The ball stadium just does a $1 a year lease from us.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, Alderman Strebe, you were probably here the last time that the city actually had a vendor take the park over. I believe that was 2012 or 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And as you know, that only lasted about 2 months.
Yeah. That's the other part of looking at with what they've got right now versus saying you're going to get rid of the individual who's running the golf course because he is an employee, and where's it going to go from there? I mean, that's the only thing I don't want to do is lose the what we've got out there right now.
Right. And please know, we're not suggesting at all of getting rid of Brock or anything like that. What I'm saying though is, like Alderman Trolley has mentioned, possibly looking at different leasing options and such. Maybe we lease the park to Brockett or to some entity, and they then receive all the revenue from it.
Okay.
So we're just going to be creative and look at lots of different options, and then hopefully, with him and with us, we'll work something out to bring to you well before the next year. So.
Okay.
All right. Chairman Ford.
I will tell you from knowing the industry that what we're paying him is well below what the market dictates. So we've got a great guy, and for $62,424 a year, plus his other stuff. I mean, we've got a bargain. And Brock, I mean, let's face it, he busts his butt doing whatever he can to make that golf course probably one of the best in the area.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chairman. Alderman Trolia.
But I wasn't suggesting getting rid of Brock or shutting the park down or anything like that. I was just saying it would be a simpler structure to rent it to somebody than they keep track of everything instead of collecting a percentage and paying them out a percentage of everything. And yeah, I by no means meant shut down the park or get rid of Brock. That's not what I meant at all.
Well, I mean, that sounds good too, but the other part of it is it still belongs to the city of Danville. And having somebody in there as a watchdog to take care of it, that's the only thing I'm saying. That's the only reason why I think it's worked like this. Yes, it's nasty, but we're involved in every aspect of it all the time, including the end of the year. Sometimes, like last year was a bad year, we had to float them alone. This year, golf is back up. So, I'd look from next year when we get ready to discuss this.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Bouchard,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Trolia,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan, 11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries.
11 is a resolution approving the purchase of a low-profile flat deck equipment trailer. Move to dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Chairman Poor and seconded by Vice Chairman Streaming. Is there any discussion or debate?
Just one thing, Carl, you may want to weigh in on the work comp case we've had because of the other trailer and the benefits of having a hydroelectric.
Certainly, Chairman. This unit will actually replace a unit that we actually bought from individuals several years ago. And at the time, we bought a manual lift tailgate on it. This thing weighs, I think, around 250 to 300 pounds. We've actually had 2 individuals hurt themselves trying to lift it. This one here, he would take that old one back in on a trade and give us a good price on it. This would also, instead of being a gooseneck trailer, this will be just a tow behind on a pintle hook. And this has the electric over hydraulic lifts for the tailgate itself. So we can get away from the work comp claims on it.
So Carl, explain what a pintle hitch is, because there's something.
It's just a clasp type hitch on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And then it's like a big O-ring welded to the front of the trailer, and you just set that ring down on top the pintle, and the pintle closes on it. It's not a ball hitch like.
Yeah. Well, you and I and Mike O'Kane and maybe Rick Streaming know what that is, but
right. And the gooseneck is simply, it resembles what you'd see on a semi, a fifth wheel type thing. Once again, a gooseneck just literally sits on a little ball that's mounted to the middle of the truck that's hauling it.
Making it useless.
We'll get away from that. Yeah, well, they have their purposes, but a pintle is a much safer hookup as well.
Yeah.
Carl, I think from the safety issue, that's a good deal on this new trailer that you're looking at. And I think it's a good value that they've allowed you.
Yeah, it's real good. This gentleman has worked real well with us on trailers, and
Like
it's a
you
good
said,
quality trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman York,
Yes.
Williams, Troya,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Reeby,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan, Shard,
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, motion carries.
All right, 11C is an ordinance approving the sale of real property at 3301 and 3304 Fairway Drive. Move to dispense with reading, ask for your approval.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second,
by
Bouchard.
and seconded by Alderman Pickering. Any discussion or debate?
Mayor, just one, I did have a couple calls on this. This is actually property we had purchased earlier for right-of-way acquisition for the pump station and things, and now we're selling it back to an interested party, the parts we don't need, right?
To the adjoining neighbors, yes, Chairman, that's correct. We will maintain 30-foot strips of go through the entire property. That way we can still access that pump station. That was the primary purpose, to do work and replacement in there. And we have no use at adjoining property. All it would mean is that we would have to continue to maintain it. Now it will be able to be a part of the neighbors' yards there. So that will do two things. Number one, mean that we don't have to maintain it. And number two, also put that property back on the tax roster as well.
Do you remember one of the questions was, what did we pay for it? I said, well, I don't remember what we paid for it, but we're selling for $7,500 per parcel, so.
Chairman, I will ask for a little assistance on that. I believe Engineer Cole can answer that question.
So I believe we paid $28,000 for the parcels. They appraised for $22,000 at the time. We could not negotiate the landowner down any lower than $28,000. We're retaining about a third of it, of the properties. So if you take 7,500 times 3, you end up at $22,500, which is really close to the fair market value it is appraised at. So we feel like it's a pretty fair shake to the city and a pretty fair shake to both of the parties buying the properties.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Chairman. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Williams,
He gone.
He's got his grandbaby.
Maria,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Strebe,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Van,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
York,
Williams
Yes.
is back.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Got that grandbaby, don't you?
Yeah,
11 yes, the motion,
handful.
11 yes, the motion carries.
Mayor, the only thing is, items of information, unless Carl or, Sam have anything?
I do have a couple things. Number one, a reminder that yard waste collection begins on the 29th, which is the last Monday of the month. We will not be having another meeting with a full council before then, so I want to let everybody know that. And we have sold out of all of our current containers before we got the next batch in. Some people are coming in and still prepaying for toters or containers when they get here. Don't look like they'll be here till about the week of the 16th of April. So we're going to be almost a month without them. The only place in town that carries a comparable container is Lowe's at this time. They do carry a 65-gallon toter brand container, but they are the only ones that have that. So that's where we're at with those two things. We continue to do our sweeping. We are repairing all the damaged snow plows from the last month and a half. No more snow. We did get all the rest of our salt in, so we got a good jump on the start of next season already. So we appreciate everybody's help during the winter and their cooperation. And
Hey, Carl, give an update on the fire truck.
oh, yes, engine 2, which I told the Public Works Committee about last week, was sent over to Washington, Illinois, to the McQueen dealer. That's the authorized Pierce dealer, because we had a pump that would not engage. It also had some milky looking tranny fluid in it. They come back with I don't have it in front of me right now, Chairman. It was almost $4,500, I think.
45, 48, somewhere in there.
It was somewhere in that range, but they are working on it, and hopefully it will be back within the next 2 weeks.
All right, Mayor, I think, with that, that concludes our report.
Chairman, I think Vice Mayor Iverson has a question.
Okay.
And this seems like an obvious question, Carl, but you have to buy a yard waste sticker before you get picked up starting the end of this month, right?
No, we will be picking everything up, including all routes each week.
Okay.
That'll include the bags and the containers. But yes, you have to have a current year sticker in order for us to pick up your container.
Container, okay.
Yes.
But Vice Mayor, we're picking up the bags for everyone, Carl.
Okay.
Yes, bags get picked up from everyone, and we're picking up each household each week through the month of December. We do not go to the every other week collection until May.
Okay, so I just need the 21 sticker.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You certainly do.
Carl, we can pick those up at Voorhees or downtown both, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Or they can call in and with a credit card, and we can mail it to them as well.
Okay.
I don't know about y'all, but I think it's great news that we have so many people wanting to clean up their properties. That makes me proud. So.
Well, when I was down today, there was another individual in there getting some, so I've got mine. But Carl, I've got a couple of potholes if I can give them to you real quick.
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, Avenue G on both sides of 150. Both have got pretty good sized potholes. And on Cunningham, just 100 feet from G Street on the south side, there's a huge one there. and it goes back west.
Okay.
And then there's an alley coming to Cunningham off of Bensel. If you take Bensel, there's a dead end sign, and it comes back out to Cunningham. Their road there has got 2 or 3 big ones in it.
That's actually Cunningham, not Bensel, correct?
It's Bensel. If you're on the south side, if you take Bensel down, you take it all the way down, there's a dead end, and then there's Avenue F or G, I think. No, it's got to be Avenue E. And if you go straight, and then you head back north, there's an alley there. Then the alley has been asphalted.
Oh, it's a turnaround. Yeah, I know where you're talking about.
It runs into Cunningham. There's a couple good sized ones in there.
I know where you're at now. Okay.
Thank you.
I believe Alderman O'Kane was trying to get our attention as well.
Yeah, are you open in the afternoons or mornings or what?
Who? Public Works?
Yes.
We're here all the time.
And what about City Hall? Just afternoons?
Yes. Until we have everyone vaccinated that we need to, we'll be that. I hope it won't be much longer.
Okay, I just didn't want to send people down there if they weren't open.
Thank you, sir.
And Carl lives, you can see Carl's bed in the background. He's there all the time.
I would tell you could call us anytime, we'll show up, but I would be the one showing up, so I won't do that, okay?
Well, Mayor, I don't see any more hands up, so I think our report's finished.
Alderman Pickering had a question, I think.
Oh, they need to raise their hand.
Well, I was this way.
Oh.
I'm sorry. We have a really problem here in Ward 3, and I'm pretty sure Ward 4 has the same problem with these containers being left out. How can we correct this problem?
That's code enforcement.
Yeah.
And you know, and they have been great about that, but there are so many. They'll spend 2 days writing them all up. How can we get information out to people? I mean, because it is really bad.
Oh, I can call Commercial News and have them put another little notice in the Commercial News, or, you know, I mean, there's various ways to do that, but if code enforcement can't get them to do it, I'm sure information in the Commercial News isn't going to get them to do it.
Right. But I just, you know, I don't know. I went down one of the streets and I counted over 22 cans. They picked up their garbage on Thursday, and on Monday, they still had like 22 cans out on that street. 22. One street.
Well, I'll talk with Mr. Simon, our appropriation counsel. We'll get our guys to do a more aggressive sweep and to maybe put out some tags so that they can hopefully do it. But it's a never-ending battle. I don't know what to say.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for public work?
One more on this comment. This Alderman O'Kane.
Yes.
How soon are we going to be doing our own billing and for the sewers and the garbage and stuff like that?
Not until October, Alderman.
Okay, well, I was going to say, with that billing, that's a way of communicating to these people individually almost, that they're not complying.
Yes, that would definitely be one way to do that for sure.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor.
At this time, we'll receive our public services report. Chairman McMahon.
Hello, everybody. Actually, we don't have anything to share tonight, except that we will be meeting next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
All righty. Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate you. You'll be glad to know, folks, that we do not have need of closed session this evening. However, I do want to give a couple of updates regarding COVID-19 and the pandemic. I'm very proud to say that our health department, as well as other partners such as OSF and Carl, as well as our our community college, the airport, the Fisher Theater, our local pharmacies have all stepped up together, and we are vaccinating people at record rates for our county. So really happy for that. There are lots of different options now to receive vaccinations. You can go on the Vermilion County Health Department website, and they have all those options listed. You can actually register online. Also, they are accepting appointments by telephone. So I would really encourage you, if you're able to go and get vaccinated. The sooner we get a higher threshold of vaccinations, the sooner we'll have herd immunity, which will mean that life can go back to normal. So encourage you, if you're able, to go and get your vaccination. It's important, and it'll be a way to help us be able to move forward as a community. Thankfully, our COVID rates continue to go down. However, I still want to encourage everyone to be safe when you're in public. Unless you're eating or drinking, please make sure you wear your masks. Make sure that you social distance, keeping 6 feet away from people that aren't in your party. And also, as Chairman McMahon always reminds us, please wash your hands. Those are some of the most vigorous ways that you can help stop the spread of the coronavirus. So please do everything that you can to keep yourself, your family, and our community safe. Any other questions or comments regarding the pandemic or coronavirus or vaccinations?
Just one thing, Mayor. I know the airport canceled their vaccinations for Thursday, but it was easy to go online and get re-registered for Friday. And I don't know if they know something I don't know, but Thursday, I guess we're supposed to have some pretty bad weather.
It looks like we very well may. Lots of water, so now we've got to prepare for, we go from preparing for plowing to possible flooding, Chairman. It's the season. So, all right, having satisfied the agenda, I would entertain a motion to, actually, I'm sorry, are there any other items of information for the good of the cause? All right, having satisfied the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move. Second.
Been moved by Vice Chairman Streaming, seconded by Vice Mayor Iverson. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Everybody have a great evening.
Good night, everybody. Good evening.
Go Illini. Go Illini.
All the way.